Hello, welcome to the boat shop. Today is the 30th of October of 2024. And it's kind of a gloomy day out there today, which is a good thing. It's starting to rain just a little bit. It hasn't rained in almost 2 months. You know, for as much rain as I talked about we had this summer, it just dried up and that was it. So we need the rain, that's good. The weather has turned, obviously. It's gone from 80 degrees yesterday to 50 degrees today. And there you can see it, 50 degrees out there. Yeah, quite the switch. It hasn't been just an overly productive week on the boat here. I was getting ready to get started back there, putting plywood up, and yeah, I realized then that I had a little work I needed to do before I could even get started back there. One of the things I needed to do was get this this plywood on here, which you can see I've got on there now, and it created a little bit of an issue with me. I wanted to put a cleat on the bottom edge there on the inside, but there wasn't enough plywood to get a cleat on in there. So I debated and debated and debated what to do there. In the end, I just decided to glue it along the top and screw it along the top, and we can put a cleat out here later on, and then what's going to be the deck to the outer deck here, we can that'll get fiberglass. So, and then all this stuff here will actually be inside the pilot house. So that was not really going to be much of an issue along most of its length. So I decided to just not worry about it too much, because I can put a cleat inside along here if I want to. Another thing I had to do was I wanted to reinforce this area right here, because this is going to be where the mast steps right down here. And that was one of the reasons I built these two little walls around the showers around here, as heavy as they are, so that they could help support that weight. And then underneath of them, that's reinforced into there all the way down to the keel. So this acts as vertical supports for the mast. And then one other thing I had to do was back there. If you can see back there, I put a, I don't know how well you can see that. I put a gusset in there. I had done one over here earlier on this side. That outer piece of wood had split on me, just from drying out, I suppose. But anyway, so I wanted to put a gusset back over in that corner of the transom also, and that's just 3/4 inch plywood there. That's all pretty thick there, so I don't think that would have been an issue regardless, but I thought, I can do it now. Well, it's a little easier to do, so I'll get that done, and I did. So I got that other gusset put in there, I got this done, and I got this done, and now we're pretty much ready to start trimming down these deck beams to allow the plywood to lay on here. The thing is, I've got a couple of these deck beams, and this one right here you can see is a little high. Geez, I might have to take a ½ inch off that one. I don't know exactly how that happened. We're not in a situation where we can really do much about that. I don't know if the curvature is off on that beam a little bit, or what the problem is, because I'm sure it's all right over here on the outside edges by the raised shear, but yeah. So we'll have to do some trimming in here to get things laid out a little more smoothly. And I assume that, you know, if you put your plywood on here, when you put the screws in, that might balance these out just a little bit too, even if they weren't perfect. But irregardless, we will get the plane out and work on these to get these, you know, laying a little more perfectly. But this is ready to go, and when we go to put the plywood deck on here, what I'll do is I'll probably put thickened epoxy over this whole thing here to kind of bond that to the plywood, and then to take up any any gaps that may be, you know, in between these pieces of wood. And another thing that I did was in the cabin here, I told you I had picked up some new lights, and I did get those kind of temporarily wired in. So let me turn those on here. This is just a battery pack. And there's those lights, 4 of them in here. And I know the camera's going to automatically white balance, so you're not going to be able to get an idea of the color temperature probably, but you could adjust these. From warm, daylight, and medium. I don't know, and I'm sure you can't see any difference there. The nice thing about these lights is, I don't know if that showed up on camera at all or not, but the nice thing about these lights is when you unplug them, when you turn them off, they maintain their previous setting. So these have, well, of course, these dimmers are all physical dimmers. So they will stay wherever you have them set. But if you want to turn these down, you can. And when these are in the warm white or warm light setting, and you turn the dimmers down, it makes for a comfortable mood lighting in here. But of course, we're going to have lights, those puck lights, throughout the rest of the cabin here too. But anyway, I got those installed temporarily, and you know, I use these Wago fittings here. I don't know if I'm going to continue using those or not. Yeah, I haven't seen really anybody use those on boats, but boy, they sure are handy. They're quick and easy to use. Since each wire goes into its own little clip, then they're connected up here. But since each wire goes in individually, you can put different size wires from 12 gauge to 25 gauge wire in there. And I think these are 18 gauge or something like that. The wires here anyway. This stuff here is all 14 gauge. But yeah, I suppose for interior work, you know, like this, that would work all right. We'll see. But yeah, I don't know. It's an adequate amount of light for the countertop in here now. I think it'll work fine, you know, in the galley situation here. Of course, for daytime use, we're going to have a port light or porthole in here, an opening porthole in here, and probably one here. You know, and then you got your range top here, cooktop here. And then over your sink here, you got another one, and then there'll be a couple of them, I suppose, over here too. Probably one there and one there. But that'll let some light in during the daylight hours at least. And then we'll have a hatch in here somewhere too. Not exactly sure where the hatch is going to go just yet. Somewhere in here, I'm sure. Whether it's here or here, I don't know for sure. One of these three, you know, one of these 3 sections here will have a hatch in it too, and there'll be a hatch up here. Let's get some more light on. And there's the addition of 3, I don't know what these are, probably 11-watt lights. But anyway, we'll have another hatch up here, and we'll have to situate it somehow so that people can get in and out of here in an emergency situation. You know, if the boat ever had a fire or whatever, there'll be bunk beds here. So I suppose if we put a little ladder somewhere for our steps for getting up on the upper bunk, you'll also be able to double that for getting out a hatch here. Or if we put the hatch right here, we could maybe even put a couple steps here if we wanted. Yeah, whatever, we'll figure something out. But then we'll put a couple of port lights in here too, somewhere. But yeah, so it wasn't just an overly productive week. Didn't get just huge amounts done. I had other jobs to do, other work to do that was not boat related, so I got some of that done. And there's Quiddy come to join us. All right, so I'm going to leave it at that for this week, and hopefully by next week we get, oh, there's another cat. That's Trouble down there. What you doing, Trouble? Those cats always make me nervous sitting up there, and it doesn't bother them. But anyway, we'll see if we can get started on the plywood back there for this week.